Burma is a peace-loving state and is in every respect able and is both eager and willing to discharge the obligations that may be laid upon it by its membership of the United Nations under the Charter of the United Nations. Its application has happily been unanimously recommended by the Security Council. I have no doubt, therefore, that the Assembly will unanimously vote and approve the membership of Burma to the United Nations.
55 votes, the resolution is approved, and Burma is admitted in United Nations.
Our experience has been that in modern conditions, once the flames have burst out, it is impossible to avoid a general conflagration. That being so, it is the plain duty of this organization to be constantly on the alert to uncover abuses which are likely to culminate in armed conflict and to seek, by whatever means may be open to it, to correct and remedy them, or at least to call for and insist upon their correction in good time. Members are aware that Pakistan and India are agreed that the question of the accession of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan or India shall be determined on the basis of a free and impartial plebiscite of the people of the state. A campaign has recently been started in the Indian press to persuade the government of India to resile from this position. One trusts, however, that India will not resile from a position which it has consistently occupied for 2 years in this respect. A ceasefire was arranged on the 1st of January this year. Since then, a ceasefire agreement has been brought about through the efforts of the United Nations Commission. The next task of the Commission was to bring about a truce agreement. Here the Commission was confronted with demands and contentions which it found itself unable to resolve as the result of its own efforts.
To consider the facts, which certainly were complex as the natural outgrowth of a situation which has many ramifications and a long, ancient history. Now, I think that as the representative of the United States, I could not do better at this moment of progress than to briefly allude to what these great members of the United Nations have already accomplished and how much it gives promise of in the future. I would like to point out what have been the high points in this comparatively brief consideration of the matter in the Security Council, and what's left now for consideration and upon which there will act the representatives of the Security Council, 2 different representatives of the Security Council. First, this one that has been appointed today, whose distinguished character gives us all cause for gratitude that he is willing to assume the burdens of this great task. And then after he has completed his service and reported to the Security Council, Admiral Nimitz will have to go forward with his part in the program, supervising a plebiscite in which fair opportunity is to be given to the people of Kashmir, Jammu, to make their own decision of to whom.
In pursuance of those resolutions, cessation of hostilities was effected as from the 1st of January 1949, and a ceasefire line was actually established on the 27th of July 1949. Further, with the agreement of the parties, Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz was appointed plebiscite administrator to organize and hold the plebiscite which should determine the question of the accession of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan or to India. It would be the duty of the plebiscite administrator to establish conditions which would ensure and guarantee that the plebiscite is in every respect free and impartial. In the meantime, however, difficulties arose with regard principally to the demilitarization of the state, a condition which obviously is essential as a preliminary to the organization and the holding of the plebiscite. Mr. President, will you permit me to congratulate the Assembly on the choice of its President for the 5th session. It is a matter of gratification to us that the deliberations of this crucial session will be controlled and guided by so distinguished a representative of a country with whom we have long-standing and intimate ties of culture, faith, and friendship. You are aware, sir, in what high esteem and affection I've always held you, and I repeat the prayer that I uttered to you when the choice of the Assembly became known, that God of His grace continue to bless you with the strength needed for the discharge of your high responsibilities and rightly guide your judgment at every step. Fellow delegates, we are met at a time of crisis. Grave events wait upon our words, upon our deeds. What we say and what we do here may turn out to have been pregnant with destiny. The memorandum constitutes a reminder to member states of what needs to be done and to be undertaken if the organization is to move forward towards the achievement of the objectives for which it has been set up. Mr. President, very little needs to be said in support or justification of the resolution now before the Assembly, which Pakistan has joined with 8 other member states in sponsoring. If the Charter sets out accurately our aims, purposes, and objectives, and if these aims, purposes, and objectives have to be achieved through the United Nations organization, then not only could no exception be taken to any of the points set out in the Secretary General's memorandum, but it must be confessed and affirmed that every one of these points needs to be taken up, studied, and vigorously pursued.